We're going to get back into your paper today and talk about the next step. And so remember the learning goal. The students will be able to craft an engaging hook. Let's stop there and talk about yesterday's work, Tuesday's work. I want you right now, today, to go back into Tuesday's work where you did enter your hooks, and I want you to interact with one another. I want you to mentor each other and help each other to grow and improve. I'm asking you to please not be bashful. Go in and make comments. And I'm putting it out like this. This is a quiz grade, and your interactions with your peers is going to result in a higher quiz grade. So go back in. If you see one that's really good, really intriguing, it truly is a hook, tell that person, so-and-so, keep this hook. Have this hook as your in your research paper. This is good. But if you see one that's not particularly compelling, or maybe it's kind of compelling, but there's room to grow, tell that person, hey, I like this. This is good. Maybe say something good about it, but consider doing this and give some growth points. Be giving feedback and be that mentor. I'm looking for that and I'm grading for that. So you do need to go back into Tuesday's work and continue to make comments. The more, the better. Please engage. Okay, now the next part is that you should also be able to craft a governing thesis. That is today's goal, and you will be putting that in your comment section for Wednesday work today, and you will be interacting with each other, probably more so tomorrow. But hey, if you can start today, if somebody already entered something, that would be amazing. Okay, but let's move on into thesis statements. Thesis statements are another example. I should say essays and research papers are another example of reliable conventions and constructions. Just like we had the illustration of a house and how an architect, how a builder can know of certain points that they must have certain characteristics and attributes that are universal to all houses. We won't go into that again. Hopefully you looked at that example. In the same way, people build their writing, different types of writing based on certain reliable constructions or conventions. And that does something for the reader. The whole purpose of that is to communicate better to the reader. So without you or I even reading this poem, we could, since somebody has taken the time to do a rhyme scheme for us here, we can know based on the rhyme scheme and the structure of this poem that we are going to find a lot of meaning down here in the last 6 lines of this sestet, because we can see right away that this is an Italian or Petrarchan sonnet. And so this author has used the construct of the sonnet to better communicate with her reader. The same holds true of essay writing and research paper writing. There are certain reliable conventions around this kind of writing. And reading teachers, through your school experience, have been trying to introduce you to different types of text and help you understand, gain meaning from those texts by teaching you about the attributes of those texts. And now writing teachers have also tried to help you know how to structure your written expression to communicate effectively to others. So here we have an example of a term paper or an essay, and we see it's done in MLA, and there's just certain attributes about it that are reliable. And one of them is that the thesis statement should be in the bottom of the first paragraph, in the introductory paragraph. Your reader, your teacher reader, your peer reader, if you put, I might have you put your introductory paragraphs online, your peers, whatever your audience may be, your professors, readers of your articles when you publish in magazines, guys, wherever it is that you end up, those readers know that they can find your thesis statement in the bottom of your introductory paragraph almost always. Almost always, guys. I am talking about people writing their doctoral dissertations that are hundreds of pages long, and you can find their thesis statement in the same spot. So yes, I just wanted to expose you to the fact that there are authors that play with language in such a way that they do move their thesis statement elsewhere. But by and large, and certainly for juniors and seniors and freshmen in college and so on, that is where your thesis statement should be. Okay, and so let's think about the attributes of it. First of all, it needs to be crystal clear. You are communicating to your audience with that statement. It's a tool, and here's what I want you. I'm going to pause here for just a second and get your attention it's 5 minutes in. Guys, I'm asking you to take notes today, and I want you to put this in. The words that I am saying right now, I want you to write in your notes. It's not going to be on the slides. You can't just copy the words on the slides. I want you to put that the thesis statement is a tool for you, the author, because it's going to help guide you, and for your reader. It's a tool for your reader because it's going to guide your reader, to understand where you're going to be going in your essay. I'm going to give you one example, and I want you to just write a couple of words that helps me know that you listen to this and you understand the example. The example is this. I wrote an article for that monthly that we have to do at West Seneca Christian School, and I sent it to my brother. He aced his AP English exam in high school. He's a college graduate. He is an avid reader and a great writer. So he provides a great resource to look over any of my writing. He read it, and then when we discussed it, he went straight to my thesis statement. And we talked about my thesis statement. It was a solid thesis statement, but it provided him a jumping point into my essay, into my article, into a certain paragraph that he wanted to call some attention to, some, things that I could do better in that particular paragraph. Do you see? Readers use your thesis statements to gain understanding about what you're trying to say. Make it clear. Do not let this be the place where you play with language and make things just very embellished and very flowery. Make this part clear. It is a tool for you and for your reader. Make it explicit. Here's one more thing I want you to put down in your notes right now, please. I want you to put that by making it explicit, your reader should be able to literally read your thesis statement, and yes, they won't have all of your data, all of your textual support, evidence, and further explanation, but they will know what your whole entire paper is about by that one sentence. If it is too broad, if it is too general, they will have no idea what you really think. They should be able to pull that one sentence and know exactly what you think without all the details to support it. I want that down in your notes, please. Your thesis statement will establish a line of reasoning. In other words, it's going to help you order your paper. It is such a tool for you guys. I want your thesis statement to be one sentence. Yes, in general, thesis statements can be more than one sentence long. I want yours to be one sentence, and I am taking my authority. I'm going to appeal to a higher power than myself in my direction to you, and that is that there are 3 AP English teachers conducting online classes right now for the nation, okay, of AP English students that have been quarantined, and they are directing that audience, okay, so we're talking about the very polished writers that have been in AP English all year long, right, all across America. They are directing them to use one sentence. They're saying if you get it in one sentence, if you get it that concise and get it that honed in and direct, it's going to direct the rest of your paper. It's going to be a valuable tool. So I'm going to appeal to a higher authority than myself and say I want it to be one sentence long. And I just want to say this too. I love this statement. Your thesis statement should govern your paper. If you do a sharp, strong thesis statement, it's going to just direct your whole entire paper. Now, one more thing I could have said about it is it can be developed throughout, right? We already talked about how you might have to change it because you might change your opinion a little bit, change the direction of your paper as you research. So there is that. But really, in the end, it should be strong and it should be a tool. So what I need you to do with your thesis statement is set yourself and your reader up for success with the map that you're providing in your thesis statement. Let's look at some mentor texts. Mentor texts just mean student examples. These are written by your peers. So therefore you can rise to the occasion and you can write good thesis statements as well. Use these as examples for yourself. Okay? Here's the first one. We already talked about the hook in this particular one. Look at this is not long, it's not flowery, it's very direct, and it's very effective. There are irrefutable historic proofs of the resurrection of Jesus Christ. What is this person's paper going to be about? It is going to be about all of the historic proofs that cannot be argued with about the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Historic proofs are like a list of different attributes that historians measure historical information against. It's kind of like a checklist of if this is true of this particular historical information, and if this is true and if this is true, then we can rely on this. This is historically accurate. It's not made up. It's not conjured up. And so we know what this person is going to be, what her line of reasoning is going to be based on this simple, effective, but not too broad thesis statement. Here is another on the same topic. This person provides the counter argument. It says, although many are skeptical about the resurrection of Jesus Christ, and here's what the argument's going to be for this paper. Substantial evidence exists that he did indeed rise again. Evidence that is clearly seen through his, now look, this person lists every argument that's going to occur in the paper. This is very clear direction of the line of reasoning for this paper. That is clearly seen through his death, burial, empty tomb, post-resurrection appearances, and dedication of his followers. We know the whole entire paper right here in this extremely effective thesis statement. Now, I want to just note one more thing. I only have a couple of minutes, but look at the repetition going on in this particular one. We just talked about effectiveness of repetition in language. Look at how this person used that repetition and then continue to articulate what that evidence was. I think that is a unique attribute of this particular statement. Here's another. When considering the primary concerns with energy production, such as this person in her counter argument lists the concerns: environmental impact, cost effectiveness, and community safety. Here I underline this to show you. Look at the clear direction here for the reader, for you, the reader. Nuclear energy outperforms all other traditional forms of energy production. We can see where the argument's going. We can see what's going to be addressed in terms of the counter argument. Now, I want to say I got awesome research papers arguing for and against nuclear energy. This one happens to be arguing for. I got some equally strong ones arguing against. So good job, everybody. All of the really good research has already gone into these papers, and I want to share them bit by bit with you. Okay, this one you don't even know about, but again, that's where you can read this thesis statement and still know where this person's going. With this one, you don't have the background knowledge about. While some people may not understand the meaning and importance of justice, Martin Luther King Jr. and his cohorts emphasized that justice, like freedom, is very important to a unified and successful country. So you can see this again, clear. The line of reasoning is present. It provides very strong direction for this paper. And then one more. This is from the vocation papers, okay? And I did the highlighting so you can see differences and nuances in this. Becoming a dermatologist will be a tedious journey, but when it has been completed, the newly licensed dermatologist can help the vast majority of people struggling with skin problems in magnificent ways. You can pause this and look because I'm almost out of time, but look, we can tell two different areas that will be addressed in this particular informative vocational paper. Okay, so all excellent. Pause them, look them over, look over the ones that get entered online, and interact with one another today and tomorrow on those. And those are your tasks. I put them at the end here. I want you to comment on peer sentence hooks. I already went into that in detail. I want you to improve your current thesis statements and put them in Wednesday work comments. I want to see them all there today, please. And I want you to collaborate on those thesis statements. Thank you for your kind attention. Have a wonderful